literally blow your mind. I'm trying to blow your mind. I'm talking literally blow your mind.
Welcome back, fight fans, to another installment of the 2-Minute Warning Pride Rules MMA podcast. I am tonight's host, Tommy D, joined by Chris and Omar. We are sponsored by 2-Minute Warning, 80K Fightwear, Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, and Madama Jiu-Jitsu. Guys, before we get into the show tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit about today. We all know what today is. 16 years ago, the Trade Center went down, or the Twin Towers, went down, and we all know where we were when that happened. Most of us were in school or home. I was in the military at the time. So I just wanted to express my deepest condolences to the families and the victims of the Twin Towers from September 11th and everything that happened at the Pentagon. It's a strange day today, and it's nice to know that we have something like MMA to kind of pick our spirits up on a day that will be a black spot on the United States forever.
Yeah, for sure. Well said, Tommy.
Absolutely.
I somehow agree with you. It was like the first time in my entire life. Second.
You know what it is? This day, 16 years ago, nobody cared about, race. Nobody cared about slavery. That day, everybody was a true blue 100% American. We live here. We make money here. Whether you agree with what's going on in the country or not with the police and all this other stuff, it doesn't matter. This is where you live. You make your money here. So today is one of those days where you got to kind of forget all the bullshit that's been going on and keep those people that passed away that day and the men and women who got sent overseas to fight for the freedoms that we all have. It's the freedom for you to sit down during the national anthem. It's the freedom for you to stand up. It's the freedom for us to have a podcast and be able to talk about what we want to talk about. So this show is dedicated to the victims, the families, the military. It's just dedicated to you all. God bless America.
Good job, Tommy.
Well said.
All right. So, guys, there was a fight card this weekend. We don't have to jump right into that right away because I know I didn't watch it. I don't think either one of you two watched it. I don't know who actually watched it because the numbers haven't come out. So let's talk about.
I'll tell you right now, they won't. That's
Well, I can tell you this: if none of us three watched that show, this card, nobody watched it.
Yeah, because pretty much I'd watch a public mauling if I had the opportunity to. Exactly. As long as it was on TV.
I was the
No,
card was trash. I just want to say I want to give Ray Borg a shout out for making me right again. But that's all.
That's the only time you'll mention that man's name, I think, in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It'll be like that guy.
I've already written him off a few times, but he's, he kind of, like, the only thing he could have possibly done for me to say his name again was for him to pull out because he didn't, that's it. Because the fight would have been less interesting, as sad as that is. Like, if they fought, it would have been less interesting. And there would be, like, a fake huge story going around about how DJ broke Silva's record, as if they're on the same level. Please.
Well, that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. But, I mean, thank you, Ray Borg, for making an already shitty fight, or shitty fight card, even shittier. Thank you. Thank you for that. But what I wanted to jump into this with was an article that I saw today, which I find mildly amusing. The bottle throwing incident before the first Nate and Connor fight has resurfaced again, and there's a gentleman named William Pegg who,
ironically,
who is claiming
he
that
needs to get pegged.
He did.
He's
he actually
claiming,
did.
He's claiming that he suffered just below $5,000 worth of medical coverage due to being hit by a bottle of water. So he is now suing Conor McGregor for $95,000.
I mean, I think that I'll say this. If Conor could get an easy payday, why not let this man get an easy payday? You know, opportunity strikes. Try and take advantage of it. I'm not hating on the man. It is fucking ridiculous, but good for him. I hope he gets it. You know? Conor don't care.
He got hit by.
Conor might even take the same thought process that I have. And I wonder if he could actually sue Conor, or because Conor was an employee of the UFC. I'm interested to see how that works, because I know the UFC lawyers ain't losing shit. That case will get
Well, he's suing Conor because Conor threw the bottle.
Yeah, but I wonder, that doesn't necessarily mean that Conor won't get represented by the UFC and their lawyers.
But it was
as
a
an
bottle
employee
of water.
of them.
How do you sustain $5,000 worth of medical damage from
you don't.
a
No,
bottle
you don't.
of water?
You absolutely don't. It's just, he's probably going to win too. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like how?
You don't. No, it's a joke. It's obviously a joke. The guy's faking like he's hurt, but if he went through with the doctor's appointments and shit that you have to do to really sue somebody, that's impressive. Good for him.
There's disability doctors that
for months at a time.
Cut.
Yeah, he's gone to the doctor for months because he got hit in the arm with a bottle of water, and that's dedication.
He took it. He took it right on the chin.
Physical therapy, the whole nine. That guy, had to go through. So give him his money. You'll probably get half of it anyway. His lawyers will.
I'd be okay with 40 for getting pegged with a bottle. Fine.
I'm surprised it's so low.
Right?
To be honest.
Right? Yeah.
Why not fucking? As crazy and high as $95,000 is to sue somebody for, you're suing a guy that just made fucking $200 million in one night.
It's
I feel like a decimal point is off, right? Doesn't it seem like it's wait a second?
Yeah.
90,
I can't believe it's actually being seen in the court. I would think a judge would look at that and just be like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?"
Could be a Protestant
judge. It was
judge.
a bottle of water.
You never know. You might have a thing.
Didn't Nate Diaz throw a can of fucking Monster? Didn't he throw an actual can of Monster? Now,
I'm pretty sure they both did. I'm pretty sure they both did. There was definitely a can of Monster being thrown by Conor.
So if that's
the thing. It was Conor, don't do that. No, Conor. It was almost like he was yelling at his baby. It had no control.
He was
Stop so scared. He didn't say, Nate, don't do that. He didn't give a fuck. Go ahead, Nate. Get kicked out.
I figured I would just bring that up as a little comic relief after the open that I had for September 11th today. But we have Kareem on with the Kareem 15. Kareem, what's your topic for tonight, brother?
Real quick, I, of course, just wanted to shout out my city, everybody that got affected a few years ago. It's shitty, but it's good to see stuff, get back to some semblance of normal, rebuilding, nice monument, tourism getting back up. I don't know how to be PC, so, not going to let some terroristic faggots or whatever it is going on, ruin a good place to be.
Giving gays a bad name everywhere.
Let me just, whoa.
Yo.
Not necessarily has anything to do with gay.
Yikes.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Exactly.
As long as you reference Seinfeld, you're good.
Yeah, you're fine.
Speaking of gay, did anyone see that bantamweight robbery the other night?
Good segue. Holy shit, that's a strong-ass segue. Fuck. That was great.
That was a piece of work. I actually watched that shit, and my stomach hasn't been settled since.
So wait, you're the one person that watched that pay-per-view?
Yeah, that little blip that registered for the counters, that was me.
The one.
And I actually watched it.
Fired. That's great. Jesus.
I would put that, seriously, for all that, for all that Nunes did I would seriously put her robbery right up there with, Machida getting his face pounded in by Shogun for 5 rounds and winning the decision. Like, that to me was that bad. She did next to nothing worth the win, and I believe solely walked out just because she was already champ.
I hate that
a lot, though. Yeah, that's been the case a lot,
when people say like to beat the champ, like, come on, man, to beat the champ you gotta beat the champ or whatever the fuck it is. Like, you score the fight by rounds. Like, if you win 3, 10-9, like, it's like you should take all that bullshit out of it when you score a fight. It should be who won this round based off of effectiveness, and that's how it goes, 10-9. And then it's like you don't go into the 3rd round or the 5th round and say, well, I agree with you, Kareem, 100%. It's bullshit, like, when they score fights that way.
It's even in those situations, though, the champ usually does something.
Right. Well, just like you said, or Chris was saying, you have to beat the champ. This might make you drink bleach, Chris, but that first Aldo-Edgar fight, I could make a case that Edgar won that fight. He did more. He took Aldo down a couple times.
Oh, boy.
So the people said that he didn't do enough to beat him. The second fight, he didn't do enough to beat him. The first fight, definitely. The second fight against Benson Henderson, 100% he did enough to beat Benson Henderson that second fight.
Yeah. Think about what you just said about the first Aldo fight for Frankie. Nunez did 1,000,000 times less than Frankie did in that fight, and she still won. Like, she was literally tapping her with front quad kicks. One takedown she got was because I believe Valentina went for an Uchimata, and when they hit the ground, Nunez ended up on her back, so I wouldn't even count that. And then she got one takedown that she did nothing with toward the end of the fight, and when she took her down, she kept looking up at the clock, and Valentina was punching like punching the shit out of her from the bottom. She wasn't even trying to get up. She was just pounding her from the bottom. And Nunez still won.
The pound from the bottom. It's a often overlooked technique, but I'm a fan.
I've seen knockouts.
Omar, my man.
Maybe this is something that Dana could set up. Dana could set up a rematch and put it on a card that people actually give a flying fuck about.
I don't even believe Nunez won the first fight.
That fight was supposedly shit. So, I mean, like, if... I don't know. I wouldn't think that they're really, like, going to...
I tell you what, bright spot, Jeremy Stevens,
like
Jeremy Stevens definitely kick-raped Gilbert Melendez's leg.
Yeah, that's just one of the most disgusting legs I've seen. Did you see the picture today?
Yeah. It looked like something was trying to get out of his leg.
Yeah.
It looks like a face burst
shiny and
was
wet.
in his leg, right? Like a alien was trying to jump out of his shit.
Bro, I'm not going to lie, I had an injury like that on my thigh, and my other thigh was black after like 3 days, bruised all the way down to my knee, all the way down to my toes, like everything in between. You could imagine where I'm going with this. Like, it was the most disgusting thing. His leg is going to be completely black tomorrow. Or the next day.
It's terrible. He needs medical attention on that thing for a while.
Bro, yeah, like I had to go for fucking ultrasounds every other day because of blood clotting and
blood
shit.
clots, right? Yeah, and you're not even Jamaican, and that's how bad that was. That's crazy.
We talking about Chris or Kareem?
Either one. Like, I'm just saying, like, what that hematoma is going to be fucking no joke, bro. That thing is going to hurt for a while. I was on crutches for like a good 4 months. Plus from a bruise.
Was that when Reggie Bush tried to take you down and you ate it?
Yo, it was actually playing in a flag football game that happened. I got kneed on like a crackback block by some fucking dude that was like 6'5".
Oh, that's terrible. The leverage. Fuck.
Bro, it felt like an explosion in my leg. And the reality was it only hurt for like a couple minutes, so I went back in and like and then I went to the bar after and didn't fucking ice it or nothing.
Oh, no,
that's
it's you dehydrate yourself when you needed hydration the most to get the blood.
Bro, when I woke up the next day, how about this? When I got home after the Packer game, it was, I went right to the ER, drunk as hell.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
It was bad.
And the shocking thing is Gilbert would actually take that much, pounding to his legs, considering that he's pretty damn good with takedowns. And I know he knows how to check a kick, so maybe he needs to stop training with Nate.
You know what I think? I'm not making an excuse, but when I see guys that normally don't do what they would normally do in a situation, I think injury. I think about that in baseball. I think about that in all sports, not just fighting. You know what I mean? Like if these guys are all of a sudden like they're so good and then all of a sudden they're not, they're probably hurt, and they're not.
Well, let's also say, Gilbert's kind of long in the tooth at this point. With as many fights as he's had. So
and bro, when you look at Melendez,
he might be on the back nine.
It's like, what do you think you could do to this guy that would really affect him? He's got really skinny calves, and I think that's just something that, like, I think that people should have been exploiting a while ago, that they kind of.
So are you saying he skips leg day? Is that what you're saying? He skips leg day?
I'm saying El Nino needs to fucking go do leg for sure.
That's all.
Maybe not legs, just calves.
Some calf raises. Get.
I mean, he trains with the Diaz brothers. They don't.
Bro, stop! What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like
he keeps dropping that in like every third.
And you know what? Like that's not something that like that's a good thing. Diaz brothers are probably great training partners,
except for learning how to check kicks.
Bro,
messed up.
Oh,
messed up.
Come on, just saying. Just box people up and fucking eat baby leg kicks. Check kicks.
Yeah, eat baby leg kicks. What's his leg looking like today?
I'm not talking about Gilbert Melendez.
Though, let's flip it around for a second. Get out of this quagmire that this back and forth about the Diaz's is going to bring us. Big ups to Jeremy for showing a wrinkle to his game that I didn't even think he had. I didn't think that old dog had any new tricks up his sleeve, right? Weren't we dismissing him as like a one-dimensional kind of fuckboy? I was. I'll say it. Like I was just like, the one-trick pony at 145. Welcome. Knows leg kicks.
Yeah, but he's been hot and cold his whole career. You know what I mean? He'll have like a good win here and there, and then get decimated. So
Katy Perry references this early in the podcast. I don't know, Tommy. Fuck. Jesus Christ. Good Lord.
The sun shines on a dog's ass some days. You know what I mean?
You're 100% correct, bro. Like I can't take that away, but I'm just glad. Who knows if he starts? 145 is a bit of a mystery at this point. Partly because of the guy we talked about getting sued at the top of the show. So who knows what's gonna happen?
I think fucking Max is gonna run that shit for a little bit.
He can't beat anybody at the top because Frankie already beat him. Frankie's going to beat Max for the title. So maybe Jeremy Stevens will have to fight Max.
I don't even think you really think that.
I 100% think it.
I know. No.
Good
Chris, I got to stop you right there. He believes it to the core of his being, like we all believed in the Bible at 4 years old. 100%. You know what I'm saying?
You can't like look at that fight and be like, Frankie's got this. Like, no doubt.
He does.
Sure I can.
You got to look at the reality of it and say, okay, Frankie could lose this fight. You have to acknowledge that fact because even as big of a fan as I am, it could be football. It could be if they're playing somebody good or my guy's fighting a good guy. I acknowledge like, this fight is fucking interesting. It could go either way. At worst, you have to fucking admit that.
Go ahead, Kareem. School him.
Yeah, school me. Are you fucking kidding me?
Touching gloves.
That's impossible. Max has got skills, bro. Max is fucking no joke.
No, he does.
Nobody says
Max
he doesn't.
is an amazing fighter. The problem is, if you look, even when he just won the belt, it takes him roughly, and I was thinking of Frankie the whole time, it takes Max roughly
I bet you are.
2.5, 3 minutes to really go. And the hell Frankie just did when I'll be surprised if it goes past 2, maybe 3 rounds if they don't screw Frankie and give it to Cub in the first place.
Yo, you're saying Max is going to get finished.
Well, no, that fight's already in talks, Kareem. They're talking about that for 218 with Frankie.
Yeah, well, they've had fighters sign and still not get their shot.
Forget the possibility of it happening when it happens because it's gonna. You're telling me that Frankie's finishing Max. That's what you're saying.
I think Frankie puts him away inside of 3.
Bro.
Like Frankie comes out and fought like he just did. Max is
what
a
if Max
slow
fights
starter.
like he just fought?
If Max fights like he just
Max
fought,
is one of the toughest people in the sport.
100%. 100%.
Yes,
but
slow,
you're taking away from Frankie's wrestling. You're taking away from
but
that.
I haven't seen many guys finish fights with wrestling.
Really? Because Frankie just did it to fucking, the guy that everybody was blowing to say that he was the next big thing. He put the guy on his back and elbowed his fucking face into oblivion.
Bro.
The map of Mexico
was
on his fucking eye.
He used wrestling, I agree. Right? But that's not like ground and pound isn't wrestling. That's ground and pound. That's striking.
The map of Mexico.
Okay, but how does it get to ground and pound? Frankie's amazing ability to fucking take down.
If you really think that the guy who just fucking
hater
destroyed Aldo is on the same level as Yair Rodriguez, then you're fucking sadly mistaken. And I know Frankie thinks that.
I don't think he is.
I'm not a hater, bro. I don't even hate Frankie. I fucking hate your analysis of the fight. That's
because it's
I'm
right.
I'm selfish, and I want it to be 5 rounds, even though probably Tommy's like it should be 3. So.
Yeah, like
I'm
five
just saying, man. Yeah. Blessed is a slow starter, and the way he just fought was brilliant after the first 3 minutes, and he got going. The way Frankie just fought from start to finish is a problem for a slow starter.
Did Holloway start slow against Pettis? He fucking smoked him bell to bell.
Yeah, well, Pettis isn't where he should be. Pettis is not even in the same talk, same breath of air anymore as the rest of the guys.
I don't agree entirely with the fact that he's a slow starter, is what I'm getting at.
Against quality opponents, I don't know.
I mean,
he's not as bad.
Even a not so great fucking Anthony Pettis is still a quality opponent. But I agree that he was not right that night, Pettis. So I'll give you that.
It's not taken away from Max at all. It's not taken away
from
him.
It actually is. It's saying that Frankie's going to finish a guy that, I just don't see. Like, you don't really think that. Tommy, do you think that?
Do I think Frankie will fit? Absolutely. Absolutely he could finish him.
Dude. How many Frankie, what has he got? 2 finishes in his last?
In the 145 division alone? In the 145 division alone, he's finishing more people than he did at 155. Look at the stats, dude. And look at the guys that he fought at 55. He beat the piss out of Sean Shirk, which, okay, people could sit there and say, well, it's Sean Shirk, but it was a juiced Sean Shirk.
It was
a juiced
that's nothing to sneeze at. Sean Shirk would beat the fuck out of a lot of people.
I agree.
He beat the fuck out of Hermes Franca, who's probably one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the 155 division next to BJ Penn.
But right now, fuck Hermes Franca forever.
I just think that you saying that Frankie's going to steamroll Max, and you saying he's finishing him is steamrolling him.
If he puts Max on his back...
No, not a steamroll, finished in 3.
If he puts Max on his back and does to him what he did to Yair and does to him what he did to BJ Penn when he was on top, yeah, it's going to be
you're saying if he does, he's got to do that, I don't know about this, man.
I don't know, man.
I have all the
confidence
firm that he can.
I'm not even saying that he won't win. I don't think he will, but I just don't think that I would be willing to put a lot that he wouldn't finish him. That fight.
I wish it was a 7-round fight.
Just like Kareem had said, if they give it to Cub, like they would make no sense to give it to Cub because
that's
Cub
not
hasn't
happening.
beaten anybody at the top.
Would that be?
Well,
Cub just fought fucking Artem Lobov.
Well, right, but everybody's saying that Cub deserves a shot because he's never had one before. Well, you know what? I've never driven a fucking Ferrari before.
Nobody is
wrong.
saying that. Anybody who's saying that is
I want you to get a Ferrari. I, for one, want Tommy to get a Ferrari. Let's get that trending on Twitter.
Let's put it this way.
Everybody's saying Tommy deserves a Ferrari. So
if by some grace of God I end up with a Ferrari tomorrow, just wait for the fight announcement that Cub Swanson gets the shot at fucking Max Holloway.
It'll be like, wait a second, hold on. Like some Groundhog Day type shit. That'd be nuts.
But the fucked up thing would be the way the UFC's going right now. That would be a fucking Fox card. That would be the headliner of a Fox card. way
I thought they were
everything's been going
giving
with the
they were
UFC
giving
right
Pub
now.
to Aldo though. I thought that was the rematch that was on the table.
I see
what I heard.
Ricardo Lamas Aldo.
That's another good.
Well, why don't
Up
they
in-
just
you
let
know.
Aldo bump up to 155 and have him fight Conor? Why not?
Oh Lord, here we go.
Because Aldo is petrified of Conor.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
He would get destroyed at 55 by Conor.
What's the
You know
Portuguese word for Pennywise? Because I think that's what he calls Conor McGregor. Let's be honest, guys. Like he fucking checks under his bed before he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
Right? Like, fuck.
Yeah, man.
No.
He ain't fucking playing.
No.
You don't
He
want
wants
none.
to talk about
you
it.
don't want
I'm
no
still shocked
stuff.
He wants to be a pro boxer,
I don't
guys.
believe. You know
Doesn't
what
he?
though? I don't believe that Aldo's really coming back.
No, he
I
wants to
don't
be a
believe
pro
it. No, he's
boxer.
not.
You're spot on, Tommy.
I
Like
think
that,
Aldo's going to fight out his
heard of him?
contract. I don't think he has any aspirations for the belt. I think he wants to just fight a couple like guys that he knows he could beat, get out, and box.
And then be a
Try
pro
and be like-
boxer. That's what Andre Pederneiras.
Pederneiras.
I always
Yeah.
fuck up his name. I swear. But he said he was asking for his release. He wants to go pro box after this whole Conor McGregor payday. And I can't blame him. He has decent hands. I don't think he has the star power.
He won't
I don't think
generate that
anybody-
money though.
Nobody will give
He
a
won't
shit.
generate
He'll
that
be
money.
like, okay, random Brazilian. That's about it.
He'll be.
Yeah,
he'll
I don't
be
know
on
that.
a-
I don't
he'll
know
be on
that he'd be a good boxer, man.
Once he goes
It-
south
he'll
of
be on-
Panama, nobody cares for boxing. That's pretty much kind of how I
Who
think
do you
of
think he would get? Who do you think he would get in his first fight?
a smoker in
Who-
Philadelphia. That's what he would get.
Yeah.
it. Literally somebody that smokes 4 packs a
Imagine
day.
Conor followed him to boxing and he's like, nah, man. And they signed that fight and Conor knocked him out in fucking 8 seconds.
Films him again.
And then what? And then
Yeah.
what? Aldo brings in Paulie Malignaggi to fucking spar with him.
Aldo's like, I'm going to play soccer now.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Conor's like, yeah, I'm going to play for the Irish national team. We're playing Brazil.
and then he kicks him. He knocks him out with a kick at that point. Like he just keeps giving him CTE.
Just follows him around and haunts him.
Yo. He gets into
God
fantasy
damn it.
football. He's in the
Well,
same
he
league.
tried going into a jiu-jitsu tournament and lost pretty quick.
Who Aldo, right? You're talking about? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy, and his jiu-jitsu was vaunted, but like that just goes to show you if you don't use it, you lose it. As the
Yeah,
40-year-old
I
version
can't
said.
remember a time where I've actually seen Aldo actually use jiu-jitsu.
Mike Brown
I don't.
flattened him out and beat the shit out of him. Don't forget that fight. That was good back control. I got to give you that one.
You know why I forgot that fight? Because that was so fucking long ago.
It was. I was like I don't know why. It was always, I think I just in my mind when I think of flattening somebody out, that just sticks out. Like when I think of the position.
It was so long ago, and Frank Mir was doing commentary on it. So think about how long ago that was.
You're just racist and hate Cubans, all right? Let's not bring that up again, all right? I've heard you, sir. Good Lord. Things you say.
What the fuck? Tommy just got fucking put on Front Street.
Oh, no, come on. No,
Who
Frank
the fuck
Mir.
is Cuban?
Yeah, Frank Mir. Fuck you.
Frank Mir's Cuban? He looks whiter than you.
Yeah, well, and I'm definitely not, but yeah, we can pass. We're sleeper cells among the whiteys, for the race wars. But Jehovah's Witness tried to tell me about that one day when I invited him in for tea, just to fuck with him. He told me all about it. I was like, oh shit, I better get on this. Better not get a tan. Stay white. So yeah, I think speaking on that note, is it time to queue up the guests? What do you think, guys?
Yeah, let's give him a call.
Beautiful. Kareem.
15 signing out. Grass is coming up. Can't wait to hear the rest of the show.
Beautiful, man. Thank you again for
Thank you
calling
for
in,
calling
Kareem.
in.
Always a pleasure.
Even though you're wrong about your assessment, Kareem. We'll discuss that.
I mean, if by wrong you mean today, is opposite day, and I'm exactly right, and it's gonna happen, then yeah,
strong comeback.
yeah, I'm definitely
Strong
wrong.
comeback. Take it easy, brother.
Well played.
All right,
Well
guys.
played. All right, Kareem.
See ya.
New York.
Love that
Well,
dude.
I hope he's not talking about New York Giants, because
You shut your whore mouth about the Giants, you son of a bitch. Don't rub salt in that wound, all right? Stop it.
I haven't seen a beating that bad since Frankie beat the shit out of Yair Rodriguez.
Oh my Lord, here he goes.
It's not even. It's okay. Like Yair Rodriguez is never fucking star style though.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey, what's going
What's going on, man? All right, folks, we have Bobby Wombacher, a referee out of Utah, right, Bobby?
Yes, sir.
Bobby has a reality series coming out on the Fight TV app called Ref's Corner. So, Bobby, you want to talk about the reality series that you have coming out?
Sure. They what we're going to focus on is, what happens with the ref before the fights and after the fights. They're going to follow me around as I travel and, as I do significant things with my charity work and things like that. Because a lot of people don't see, from an official standpoint, what happens and what it takes to be an official. So that's what they're going to focus on. I don't believe that they're really going to show anything from the event. It's just going to be up to the event and then things that happen after the events and then things like that. What goes on, basically.
Well, yeah, you guys definitely, honestly, have the 100% toughest job next to the fighters inside that cage. I can't. I mean, can't.
You don't really hear much about the refs until something goes wrong, and then it's you could have 100 good fights, you have one slight mess up, and that's all you hear about. So it's a rough deal, for sure.
Unfortunately, that's what we sign up for.
Yeah.
So Bobby, did you? Well, no, go ahead. What were you saying? Go ahead, Bob.
I was just going to say, so the show is going to give a different side of what goes on and what leads up to it, and kind of put a voice behind the officials and kind of give everybody a glimpse in what it takes to be a ref. A lot of people will come up to me and say, "Oh, I can do that," and I know I could be a good referee, and I've mentored so many people, and they get in there for a few fights and they come out and they're like, "Yep, that's not for me." Like, yeah, there's a lot of pressure. There's, that cage door closes. You don't have a team of officials to help you. It's you. And if things go wrong, it's you. So.
When does the when does the series start?
We're figuring out a date. It was supposed to be September 30th. So that's kind of the I guess the looking date, but that could still be moved back a little bit. So we're still working on some logistical issues.
Now, you mentioned something really quick that I wanted to piggyback off of, Bobby. You're in there, you're by yourself once the cage door closes. What are your thoughts on having something? I've heard the ideas bandied about, like, remember Pride when they had the cam setups and whatnot, where they had them, you could you had the eye in there, and and extended use of replay tech. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Should we try something like that? Would it get in the way?
My personal opinion is, I think what they're trying to do with the instant replay is basically I know what they're trying to do with it is if the ending fight sequence, whatever ends the fight was created by a foul, that's what can be replayed, is if it was actually a foul or not.
Okay.
But if it's a questionable call, they're not going to replay that. It's got to be a fight-ending sequence that is a result of a foul or a potential foul.
Okay.
So, but as far as my feelings on the replay, I think it's good in those situations because, as a referee, we only have a split second to make a decision. And in some of these are their guys' living, and, you get to smaller shows, it's their opportunity to get to where they're supposed to be or want to be. And, if the knee was down and you missed it and they take a knee to the head and, it should have been a disqualification and instead he got a loss. Yeah, I think that's good. I think if you start putting too much replay into it, what happens if the referee's wrong? Do you restart the fight with 2 minutes and 21 seconds left in the third round? I mean, you don't do that.
Something crazy, right? Like, how would you do that? That's a good point.
Yeah. And as far as wearing like cameras on your head and stuff like that, I think, my big thing is safety for the fighters, and that's what you'll hear me preach 100 out of 100 times. And I think if you put anything on your body, you then are creating an opportunity to injure a fighter if a fighter bumps into you, because that happens, and they get cut because you're wearing a camera, and then the fight has to end because they got a gash on their head due to me wearing a camera or anybody wearing something. I think that the liability there is big. I mean, it may only happen once out of a million times, but that one time it happens, what if it's a title fight? So I'm not a big fan of wearing anything in the cage other than my gloves.
Well, now, what are your thoughts on the? I know this was a while ago, but the Weidman Mousasi
I was going to ask
fight
the same
with
thing.
The knees.
Yep.
Yeah,
because it almost sounded like that's what you were referencing there.
Yeah, and in that situation, everybody believes that they used instant replay, and they didn't. What happens there as an official, as a referee, one of the options I have at the end of a fight or at any point is to pull the other officials at cage side. Essentially, if my angle wasn't real great, I then can turn it over to whoever the officials are sitting outside the cage and ask them if they had a better look at it. And that's what happened in that fight. They asked, and Big John actually had a good vantage point, and he gave him, this is what happened. He was not down. It was not illegal or whatever it was. And that's what they went with. They never used replay. I know New York came out and said, I believe they said, well, they can use replay or whatever they want. I forget the statement they made that just looked kind of bad. But what actually happened is the referee pulled the other officials in the outside. And I can do that, and any referee can do that at any point. The problem is there's a lot of egos involved. So a referee does not want to do that. But in a high-stakes fight like that, I think they did the right thing, and I think the right call was made. And, it's unfortunate how everything transpired, but I think they got it right. So
I agree 100%.
Is there any way that they could fix problems like that? As for the organization, maybe the commission or even the referee?
Fix what problems?
The mass confusion that they had at the end there. You know what I mean? Because that was that fight was so awesome, and it ended in it was tarnished.
I'm gonna full disclosure. Tommy is a huge Chris Weidman fan, so he's looking for justification here.
Well, and I think the biggest. I think the biggest thing there is, and people need to realize, is New York is still a new commission. I mean, it took them so long to get, to legalize this MMA, and I don't know, was that their fourth or third event? I mean, you look at someone like Vegas.
Third.
Yeah, how many has Vegas or Nevada done? 200-300? I mean, total. I mean, so there's still a new commission. They're still learning, and they're still going through that process. And my opinion, and only my opinion, is just like a fighter. You're 0-0, you don't jump up in the main event of the UFC. I mean, you work your way up, and it may have behooved them to do some, smaller promotional shows and kind of get the feeling for what's going on and where everything needs to be and who they need at cage side and what's going on, and they did not. And I'm not saying that was the reason, but I think that may have contributed to it.
Okay. Well, did you watch the pay-per-view that happened this past Saturday night, by any chance?
I did watch the fights, yeah.
Did you see the Rick Glenn versus Gavin Tucker fight? That's there's a lot of controversy behind the referee in that fight.
The 30-24 fight, I think, or 30-25. I think was the scorecard.
Where they were saying that the referee let the damage happen way too much towards the end of that fight where it should have been stopped. I didn't see the fights, but I mean, even Dana White was tweeting about it, saying that the referee should probably lose his job because he was not.
I hate when Dana White
he's not
says
looking at
that,
the safety.
Yeah,
he's not the only one who's saying it. He's not the only one who's saying it. It's been all over the place.
What I will say in that regards is, everybody should take a peek at it and form your own opinion. I'm not going to say yay or nay as far as another official goes. That wouldn't be good on my part.
But you see, that's just another one of those things where we were saying you guys have the hardest and most thankless job inside that cage. Because you never know what's the right move. If you end a fight too early, you're criticized for ending it too early. If you let the guy keep going because maybe there's a chance that maybe he's defended himself a little bit, or there's a chance that he can come back, and he doesn't, well, now you let that fight go on too long. Like, is there even a happy medium?
There really is. As your experienced officials and stuff. Let me back up for a second. In the fans' eyes, no. There will never be a happy median. If Chris Weidman's your favorite fighter, if I stop it and then it was too soon, regardless of the facts. And so, as far
I agree 100% with that.
As far as the fans and the journalists go, and the promoters, they're there to sell more fights. So they're going to say what they have to and do whatever they have to do for whatever reason. As far as referees go, the higher end officials generally get it right 99.9% of the time. We're looking for certain things. We're looking for the eyes. We're looking for body language. We're looking for, we could be next to the fighter 6 inches from there, hear them say they quit, and so then we stop the fight, and the fighter then does his theatrical stuff because he doesn't want to, admit that. And then we get in the back, and he's like, yeah, I said it. You're like, well, why did you jump up throwing your hands up? Now I got 30,000 people booing me, So I think the good officials usually get it right, and we know when to stop it, and we know what we're looking for, and when a fighter is not intelligently defending themselves any longer, and when they are. So
yeah, I have another question about that. When you say intelligently defending, I think a lot of fans make the idea that just because you're intelligently defending yourself that the fight shouldn't be stopped. Well, if you're not trying to improve your position either, like you hear the refs say that a lot, like try and improve. If they don't, they're pretty much conceding. It's almost like a verbal tap, or like you're being warned, do something.
Sure, I
mean,
you don't. There's times where as a referee you can just tell the fighter is stuck. They can't get out of it. It's not that they're incapable. It's in that moment they've lost every ability to do what people are screaming for them to do because they're in the middle of a fight. And there's times you stop the fight and you know that fighter was capable of getting out of it. They just were stuck and they could not get out of it. So yeah, I mean, intelligently defending yourself. People think getting in the fetal position is intelligently defending yourself. I mean, you're not getting hit in the head, but that is not intelligently defending yourself. They say, the shots weren't hitting him in the head. Yeah, but he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't improving. He wasn't advancing his position. He wasn't trying to defend anything. He was stuck. And so the intelligently defending yourself is, I cover in the back when I go through things one-on-one with each fighter and let them know what I'm looking for and what I'm not looking for. And, if they decide to do that, then they know what's going to happen.
So
and I think that they know that too, yeah.
Well, what's the rule of thumb for if a fighter is in a turtle position and he's getting hit? How long would you let that go on for? How many warnings do you give him to advance position, or you're going to stop it?
Sure. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Is this his first fight? Is he an amateur? Is it his 10th fight? Or is he, is it the main event? There's a lot of, I guess, leeway that's given to somebody with more experience because, they may be hanging out there for an extra second just trying to recalculate what needs to happen. Whereas if you get an amateur, they get in that spot 9 times out of 10, they're stuck and they're done. So it varies on who's in there and what the situation is. But, if they get in the turtle position, they'll take a few shots. They're not really hitting the head. They're hitting the shoulders. You'll hear me warn them. And then it continues for a couple more shots. Then you're going to hear me get louder and closer. And, I tell the people again in the back when I'm talking to them, these are my commands. If you hear them, I'm thinking about stopping the fight. It's then on you to do something with it. So then I give the command and they continue to stay in that position. That's telling me they're done. and I don't need to make sure they're getting hit in the face. Yeah, it's hitting them in the arms, but they're not moving, they're not advancing. There's nothing going on, and they were warned in the back before the fight, what would happen if these commands were given. So, I guess I don't let them hang out there too long. Maybe a few, 5-10 seconds, maybe if you're looking at a time. But again, it varies. And then it varies also on what the guy is doing to him while he's in the turtle position. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of bravado in the sport, and I mean sometimes even with the camps and the coaches, like they don't even save the fighter from himself. So somebody's got to. It's a serious thing out there.
We actually have somebody else on that gave a call that wants to ask Bobby a quick question. Mike, you're on.
I didn't really have a question for Bobby. Bobby is Mike Kilmer. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
What I wanted to do was just reiterate what Bobby's saying. Each one of those fighters are given his directions and explanations of what will take place in that ring when he's in that position. So there isn't a new exhibit for them. They have a very explicit set of instructions and are told if they don't advance or if they do and at what level they're at. And these fighters, the first course of interest is always the safety of that fighter. So they're going to stop a fight if they've been given instructions and they'll follow those. The next issue is there's a lot of circumstances, as Bobby said, whether the fighter is actually getting ready to make a move. He may be taking shots being covered up, but moving his legs into position to do a rollout or something else. So, every single circumstance is different, and that's why the ref is there. He needs to be able to make those judgment calls in order to protect everybody.
Bobby?
He's absolutely correct. And for those who don't know, Mike is actually the commissioner in South Dakota. So he's absolutely correct.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for
he
calling
sounded
in.
like he sounded like he had a wealth of knowledge, to be honest.
Yeah, he was
like he knew
around.
exactly what
Absolutely.
he was talking about right there. I was impressed.
Yeah, that's. I mean, because just like you said, us as fans, we don't really know the situations like that. We just watch. Okay, well, he's getting hit, but he's not getting hit. You know what I mean? So we don't understand the boundaries that there is. So it's nice to have two knowledgeable people who can actually explain to us and our listeners what's going on in there. I love it. So, Bobby, you had mentioned that you have some charities. Do you want to talk about the charities that you have?
Sure. I spread myself thin at times, I guess. But I'm working with a group called the Lane Logan Memorial, and what we do there is they match up service dogs with servicemen and women that come back that have PTSD. So that excites me to, if it weren't for those warriors coming back, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So I'm excited about that. I also work with Fighting for Autism, helping autistic children and, giving them an outlet and providing centers and, kickboxing and MMA and wrestling and things that they can actually participate in and grow and things of that nature. So that one's pretty big to me. And then I do a lot of work with, just children with cancer, going and talking. And, I had a great experience a few weeks back in South Dakota. I was there reffing the LFA that was there. And there was a child that had cancer. She's 12 years old. Her name is Jordan. I got in touch with her. It's almost been a year before that. She was battling cancer, and she was in Colorado at the cancer center there. And whenever I would get in the area or whatever, we wouldn't be able to meet up just because of her situation and timing and things of that nature. So her father drove her 5 hours over to meet me and hang out, and I took her backstage, and she got to, see the rules meeting stuff and, get in the cage with me and stuff. So, that sort of thing is just awesome. And just to hear her story is fantastic. And then lastly, I've taken on another one. There's a gentleman who I went to high school with that recently was diagnosed with leukemia and a bunch of other stuff, it seems like. His name's Clint Hornbuckle, and you can find him on, they've got a Facebook page called the Hornbuckle Warriors. He's got 2 kids in California. He just had another baby. He was lucky enough to be out of the hospital for that. He can't work, obviously. It's just a terrible thing. And if you read the blog that his mother posts every day on there, you can just see the obstacles they go with and the different challenges. So, I would encourage to log in there, donate if you can, help him and his kids out. Good guy. He served in our military as well. So, those are the things that I do to keep busy.
Well, Bobby, share that stuff on our Pride Rules Facebook page, because we do share a lot of charity things and things like that. Like one of our guests that we have on, Eddie Gordon, is setting up sober houses, and we shared his GoFundMe. So please share that stuff on our Pride Rules page for our people to view, and if anybody wants to donate and things like that, please feel free. We'll help out any way that we possibly can.
I will do.
That's it's always nice to see everybody giving back, especially the kids' leukemia. I have kids, so I can't even imagine what those parents go through. Not even just the children, to go through the cancer and stuff like that. And your friend that you went to high school with, he has kids and battling everything that he's battling. It's just like I can't even imagine. They're honestly the real warriors. They're tougher than anybody who can step inside a cage, honestly, to keep pushing on the way that they are. Yeah,
and I have a fellow ref out of Texas actually. That I've helped and mentored and got him going and stuff. And he found out on Thursday, I think it was, his 2-year-old has liver cancer. So, I mean,
oh, come on.
I've got,
Jesus.
I've got 5 kids, and you start talking about kids with cancer and stuff like that. I mean, they haven't even been given a shot. So, I'll do everything I can to help and make sure that they get those opportunities. But that's just terrible news every time you hear it. And there's millions of those cases out there. It just sucks.
Yeah, wow. Oh, my God. Wait, did you just say you have 5 kids?
Yes.
Tommy just got a kick out of that because he's got 2 and he can't even...
Listen, here's the deal.
With that.
After 2, it doesn't get any harder. So once you get to 2 and you've lived that, it doesn't get harder. Throw 10 on there. It doesn't matter.
Eventually,
my girl wants more than 2. Oh, no. My girl wants more than 2. And she's like, I can't
get more than 2.
Oh, boy. Good Lord. Oh, you sunk me, Bobby. I'm done. It's over. It's done. Oh, boy.
That's how old are your kids, Bobby?
21, 15, 14, 12, and 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you got babysitters, so I'm sure your wife and you and your wife can get to go out.
Once your kids get to a certain age, they're help.
Hold on. That's an ex-wife. Let's just be clear.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Let's not go on the airwaves and throw that out there.
Hey, stepped right in.
Right.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. Hey, man, you know what? Kudos to you. 5 kids. Good Lord.
Pivoting off of that, we'll come off the potentially inflammatory statements. I always love asking anybody in the business what got you into this, Bobby, in terms of being a referee. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it like everybody else, and you sit there and you say, oh, well, I can do that, just like everybody else does. And I actually started training to fight, and I had to have a cyst removed out off my left shoulder blade. Ooh. And I don't believe in medicine, so to speak. So they gave me some antibiotics. I didn't take them, and a few days later I had to go back in because I was in a lot of pain. And so they had to cut it open, and they had to leave it open, and I had to pack it every day. And they said I couldn't roll or grapple or anything for 6 months. So I was like, well, I got to do something to stay in the sport. And so a few months later, I was on a plane to Pasadena and attended Herb Dean's course. And let me tell you, the classes for officials, the higher level ones, I guess, because there's a lot of officials out there that don't have the certification, but they're expensive, and the class is hard. When I went to Herb's, I failed it the first time. Now I've passed 7 since, including Herb's, but it's an expensive lesson to realize that I was not able to be a referee at that point.
Wow. So your advice at that stage of the game would definitely be, for anybody looking to get into it, would be to jump on one of those courses and take seriously and prepare before even trying. You think?
Right. I would not tell anybody to jump on the course because they're going to fail. What they need to do is they've got to get in the gym. They got to understand the holds. They got to understand not only how to apply every hold that can happen in the cage. I've got to know how to do, but more importantly, I got to know where the pressure points are, and I got to know where everything is because I got to disassemble it in a timely manner. If somebody's tapping out because they've got their arm extended, and I push in the wrong spot, I'm going to extend it further and break it. So as a referee, you need to get in the gym, and you've got to understand thoroughly what's going on, where it hurts, and before you should ever attempt to get in the cage. Because, like I said earlier, fighter safety is paramount. And if you don't know exactly what you're doing, one false second step can cause an injury that could end their career. So that'd be my first thing is, obviously find out what your state wants because every state operates differently as far as, they're independent. They have their own rules on what they're looking for and things like that. So find out what the requirements are in the state. But, man, once you do that, get in the gym, know what you're doing before you try to get in the cage. The fighters deserve that.
Yeah. Now, you said that get in the gym. That's not a requirement, though, right? Like, not every ref is actually trained or experienced anything like that.
I would say yes. That not all the officials have been in the gym.
That you actually have to be in the gym and learn the holds, because I think it should be.
I think everything progresses. I think that absolutely should be something the states require.
Yeah, I agree with that also.
I mean, I can't believe in reality that it's not, because it is dangerous out there.
It's very dangerous. One bad step and you're it's trouble. So you get to the higher levels though, and those officials, they've all been in a gym. They've all passed the tests. I mean, they understand that part of it. You get to the regional and local levels is where you're going to get the officials that maybe are new and haven't been in the gym or haven't passed the courses yet and things like that. But the higher levels, all those guys know what they're doing.
What about judges, Bobby?
Same thing. I think every judge should be in a gym. Because I'm a licensed judge as well, and for me to sit cage side and truly give someone a true score, I got to know how it impacted them. I heard a crazy thing one time that the quantity of punches should be a determining factor, and it should not. You throw 100 punches that don't do anything, and I throw 4 that wobble you and drop you, and I had a more effective round. I don't care what the CompuBox or stat numbers show you. And someone who hasn't been in a gym or hasn't been hit or doesn't understand those things, that's how we get controversial decisions.
So do you think that the 10-point must system needs to be changed and restructured or maybe even done away with? Is that what you think?
I don't necessarily think that the 10-point must system needs to be adjusted. I just think that, you know, the judges and all the officials, judges, refs, inspectors, everything need to be knowledgeable. And, you know, that should be the first thing that happens is the knowledge level. Because, you know, again, you got two, whether they're male, female, whatever they are, when that door closes, you know, they're depending on that third person in there to know what they're doing. Or the three around the cage to know, you know, what they're looking at. You know, they deserve that. They deserve the best, regardless if they're on a local level or the UFC or Bellator or overseas. They deserve the best whenever they step in the cage.
So do you think maybe more fighters need to be judges instead of just the people that the commission appoints?
I've heard that argument before. You know, ex-fighters make great referees. That's not always true. And the reason why I say that is because a fighter has a different pain threshold. You know, you get some fighters that can just take a walloping and keep coming. So if you get them in there as a referee, you know, in their mind, well, he's fine. You know, he can take 10 more because I could. So, you know, just because they were a fighter doesn't mean that they would make a good judge or referee. There are some very good ex-fighters. Herb Dean used to fight. You got Frank Trigg, who's now reffing out in California and stuff. He used to fight, obviously. You know, you got Chris Lieben that's starting to ref.
I heard Ricardo Almeida was doing it too, Tommy. I heard that a long time ago that he was like judging and reffing, or at least trying.
Yeah, he's a judge. Yeah, he's a judge now.
Yeah, I mean, so there are some situations where, you know, they make fantastic referees or fantastic judges, but just to paint it with a broad brush and say, well, ex-fighters would make, no, they don't. They take, just like, you know, regular referees or judges, it takes the right person with the right education and right passion and right drive to be able to do it effectively.
Yeah, now while we're on the judging, I have a question. We actually brought this up earlier in the show. And I hate the saying, you know, to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. Meaning, like, if it's a close fight, they'll give it to the guy who's the champion. I find that, like, troubling to me because I feel like you should score each round individually based on nothing. Based on nothing but the action in the fight and who controls it. And do you think that that's actually a thing that people do? The judges actually say, like, well, he was the champ, it was a close fight, so I'm going to give it to the champ.
In MMA, I do not believe that happens. And you know, I talk to some of the judges and stuff, and I don't believe that happens. I know from my standpoint, they can carry a belt in, they can carry a belt out. I don't care. That's not my focus. I'm focused on the round and what's going on. And you know, if the challenger wins, then he deserved to win or she deserved to win.
Great. So we can officially get rid of that saying now, guys. I've said it in the past, and I'll never accept it on this show again. Tommy, that
it's officially banned, right? It's getting
that works for me.
And made the ban list. Thank you, Bobby. You took care of that.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
I knew I'd leave my mark on the show. I just didn't know how I'd leave it.
There you go.
You left it.
You took care of it
for sure. You left it for sure. I've never agreed with that either. Yeah, you know, I think that's just a complete stupid statement because if you're the champ, then you should be doing more than the challenger in order to get
not
that.
Even. You should just have to win the fight. You should just have to win the fight. It shouldn't be based off of anything that you have coming into it. It should be based off of what happens during it. That's it.
I agree with that 100%.
Now, Bobby, do you think, you know, with these, like you had said, with these, you know, close decisions and things like that, with these 5-round fights, do you think that even with the 3 rounds, do you think there should be like a sudden victory round, one more round to kind of to seal the fight in these close decisions?
No, because then at the end of that sudden victory round, there's going to be controversy, and they're going to be like, well, you know, we had 5 rounds, we did the sudden victory. I think we need one more sudden victory round. I mean, where does the fight end? Because everybody's going to put an argument, we need one more.
Ooh, what about like things like this, like a Robbie Lawler, Donald Cerrone only getting 3 rounds because they're not a main event? I think that they should make certain guys, if they want to agree to it in contract, be able to fight 5 rounds, whether they're main event or not. Or do you think that has to do with the money?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with money. I think that this is just my personal opinion. I think that Robbie Lawler, Donald Cerrone fight should have main evented any card out there. I mean, that,
I agree.
That had to make
Nice.
for anything, and it
Well
delivered.
said.
So.
Yeah, I think that could have been like we had said last week. I think that could have been a Fox card main event or a FS1 main event.
Could have pay-per-view. It could have been a pay-per-view almost. It would have been better than this past weekend's pay-per-view. It would have sold more. I can assure you of that. Not to bash this card, but
I think a good amateur card would have probably generated more pay-per-view buys than this past pay-per-view did.
Yikes. Slander.
It's just, it's not though. It's been getting really stale lately. You know what I mean?
No,
it almost feels like it did back in the day when we used to get one card every 4 months that you're excited about, even though there's a million Fight Night and Fox cards. It's just that one card that you're excited about on pay-per-view. That's what it's feeling like right now.
Yeah, they're going to start doing that. They're going to get rid of the pay-per-views. They're going to sign a new deal with like Showtime after this whole Conor thing. But that's for another show. We'll talk about that another time. I know Omar has a good question that I actually would like to know the answer, what he feels about this, or if he's experienced this.
Yeah, Bobby. So one of the wildest things that I always see, and I always wanted to ask a ref, was what do you do, or what's going through your mind, and how do you handle a fighter that either in a daze starts trying to shoot a sick double leg on you,
deep double against like an All-American,
or tries to throw maybe an uppercut or something. Doesn't know that the fight's done when you're trying to save his bacon. What happens? Or has that ever happened? Or how would you think, if it hasn't happened, how would you think you'd handle it?
It's happened more times than you can count.
Oh, no.
Whenever a fighter goes out and then they come back to it in any state, they just pick back up that they were fighting. And it generally so happens that the ref is one standing over them trying to, bring them back, or, whatever it is. I've been punched in the face. I've been kicked. I've had my thumb broke. I mean, it happens. And, the fighter doesn't realize it. And, that's part of the hazard that you accept whenever you get into the sport. I mean, it's going to happen. You know that every night you most likely are going to get hit one way or another.
That's another reason why these guys need to be in the gym. That's another.
Exactly.
We could go on and on about this one. Maybe we should start our own commission.
Well, now spinning off of that, Bobby, I wanted to ask you. There was, I don't remember if it was MMA or if it was boxing. I guess the fighter didn't like what was going on with the ref, and he pushed the ref, and the ref knocked him out. Now, does the ref get in trouble for that, for kind of defending himself, or what?
Well, first and foremost, a ref should never put their hands on a fighter in an aggressive manner. I'm able to defend myself. If a fighter comes at me, I can neutralize that fighter for the most part until help can get in there to, his coaches or other people or whatever to separate him. But, as far as I go, I'm not going to throw a punch or a kick, or, I'm not going to try to take him down, to stop.
Yeah, use your jiu-jitsu,
that's not my job. I mean, if he's going to swing on me, I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to do what I have to do, but I'm not going to swing back, because it's only going to be a few seconds before corners and people are in there. A referee should never put their hands on a fighter aggressively. Yeah. And if a fighter does that to a referee, I mean, they know that their fighting career most likely is over. So,
unless you got like a Tyson Galata situation where all hell breaks loose, but in which case I think you'd be justified in defending yourself if there's like an all-out brawl.
I think Bobby's dropping people if that happens. I got $10 says
Bobby doesn't sound like he played.
Yeah, I think he's and then
he was like, I would never put my hands on a fighter. I would just choke them out.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait for their coaches.
I know.
I'm just messing with you.
Oh, man. Gilbert Ivel's not trying any bullshit with Bobby Wombacher. He's trying to high kick with me. We'll see what happens, brother. We'll see what happens. Get out of here.
So, Bobby, you have any exciting events that you're going to be refereeing coming up?
I've got September 30th. It's a local one. And then I've got a few big ones that are in the works that I can't say anything about yet, but they're going to be good. So,
are we talking Bellator or UFC kind of deals?
Yo, he said
I'm saying they'll be big.
Yeah,
Tommy.
he's like,
See what he's
Tommy's always pressing. You gotta understand. He's
that's good.
doing his due diligence. I'll give him that.
Bobby's playing
I'll give
chess
him that.
over here. He's not playing checkers. He's like,
Tommy, you're
I'm
playing checkers, bro.
I'm trying to break something big on here tonight, guys. All right?
What are you talking about?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. Whenever it's official, I'll come back on your show and I'll announce it. How's that sound?
Oh, awesome.
I love it.
Perfect.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, that
Tommy, you
works
just
for me.
did it, man. You did it. You did it.
You have an open invitation here anytime you want to just call in just to shoot the shit, man.
Absolutely. You guys are fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much.
We appreciate
Thank
it
you, Bobby.
for sure.
That's awesome.
Well, Bobby, this is the point of the show where we give the guests the floor. Plug all your social media, plug your charities again, plug everything. So the floor is yours right now, man.
You can find me on Facebook at MMA referee Bobby Wombacher. Again, support the Lane Logan Memorial. Our warriors coming back with PTSD. They need service dogs. They need other things, and we can provide that for them. And then just children in general. Anybody who's suffering, get a hold of me. I'll do what I can to help you out, to get you into contact with people who can. It's all about the moment. So, and then lastly, Hornbuckle Warriors, go help him out. His unfortunate situation. He's got kids. Like I said, his newest baby was just born days ago. So, get on, help out where you can. I know not everybody's able to help out. But if you can, get in there, and if it's $5, if it's $1, if it's $100, whatever is helping out to you, get on and do it for kids, for Clint, whatever you need to do. And if there's anything I can do, shoot me a message. You need me to come do something for children or whatever. Just let me know, and I'll work it into my schedule and make sure it happens.
That's awesome,
Bobby,
man.
please,
Golden.
Please,
this guy's an ace.
Share. Yeah, 100%. Please share all that stuff on our page, please.
Yeah, we'll definitely pump it out there for you for sure.
I will do.
All right, Bobby. Well, we just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time out tonight and coming on the show. And please, just call in anytime.
I will do, and if you guys have anything for me, just let me know, and I'll get on anytime.
Awesome.
All right, thank you, Bobby.
Thank you,
have
sir.
a good evening.
You too.
Man, isn't it great to get the referees? Isn't it great to get the referees' point of view on everything?
We actually now could settle so many arguments with this gentleman. Bobby is our ace. I'm telling you, not only is he a great dude, like that guy's he's solid gold intentions from him for sure, and he could kind of like just be like our. Who's the guy that they have on football on like Fox, like Mike Pereira or whatever? When they have like a questionable call, they go to the guy in the booth. He's like, "Yeah, we're calling Bobby." We'll get our answer right now.
He's like Judge Mills Lane.
Yeah.
On Celebrity Deathmatch.
We could have put the Weidman thing to rest the night it happened. Could have just called him up. Yo, Bob, what do you think of this?
He's our instant replay. I think he's gonna be ours. Like we're gonna be like.
I had to take my little shot at Tommy with the Weidman thing. I know
you did. I know you did. No, you know what? His knowledge is amazing. And I can't wait for him to come back on when he's talking about these big shows that are coming up, because I really wonder what it is.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on that before, like Tommy, when we were talking about the whole with the Weidman thing, there's just such a gray area with that. You can't restart the fight.
Really is.
You can't restart the fight once it's stopped for something. You know what I mean? Like it sucks because if a guy calls a foul live and the guy thinks he was fouled, then he's going to take his break. But if the fight stops, you can't restart the fight. You just can't do it.
And I wasn't mad at the decision. I was mad at the fucking morons that were saying that, Weidman was just looking for a way out. That's what pissed me off.
I mean, I don't think fighters he was locked up in a close fight. He wasn't getting hurt. I don't think he might have been like, all right, I could get this W, but he wasn't looking for a way out of the fight. He would have gladly kept fighting.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off.
Yeah,
not the actual, judgment. That's what pissed me off was the idiots that were saying that, because a former champion does not look for a way out like that in a fight that he was pretty much winning and doing well in. So that's all that pissed me off. But
and plus that decision, I think, really it kind of, if not fucked up 2 careers, it irrevocably changed 2 careers, because you see the Dreamcatcher left, right?
What the hell was that about? I'm just gonna do my one last fight and then I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. That's what was weird about that.
My thoughts. Money talks, man. Fuck that. Good for him. If he got paid, bye.
Yeah, but
especially in the UFC middleweight division, they ain't doing you any favors there.
We got a caller.
Eric from Boston, you're on, brother.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, Eric?
All right. So, as always, since last week, want to talk about heavyweights. Now, number one with heavyweights, did Conor McGregor start a shit show with the crossover? Because you got Anthony Joshua getting called out by Dos Santos and Stipe. And yesterday, Joshua said he'd beat the brakes off of both of them, and they better not, call him out. But he said he'd be glad to step into the octagon and smash some faces.
Well, first of all, Stipe would do very well in the ring with Joshua, just because Stipe was a boxer.
I'm going to stop with all those comparisons after I just gave my word.
Oh, God. You're the same guy that thought Conor was going to be fucking Floyd. Your credibility
I know, and that's my point.
A fucking elevator and an outhouse.
It takes a fucking... I admit when I was wrong, and I'm not going to fucking make that mistake again. Anthony Joshua would fucking knock Stipe out. It's the heavyweight
division. The difference is Stipe's an actual boxer. Stipe was brought up a boxer.
I don't give a fuck, bro.
So does Stipe step in the boxing ring, or does Joshua come into the octagon? What would make more money? What would you guys rather see?
Money. Wherever the money's going to be made.
Send him in K1. No takedowns, just straight kickboxing.
Yo, but I'll give this. Joshua did acknowledge the fact that he's like, I'll go in there in the UFC, and he's like, and I'll give it a shot. But he's like, I don't have any submissions or any submission defense. So,
he'll die.
He's like, I can throw elbows and kicks. He's like, I'll kick you and I'll throw an elbow at you. But, once it goes to the ground, I'm done. He said that.
He'll never make it in the UFC. Never. It would have to be in the ring.
If you trained for a year. Now, Chuck Liddell wasn't a ground fighter, but his sprawl was like one of the best sprawls all time. So
yeah, but
Chuck Liddell was a good wrestler.
He wrestled at Minnesota.
A lot of people don't understand that. Yeah, Chuck Liddell was a good wrestler.
But he always
he specialized in sprawl and brawl. But with Joshua, even a year, that's not enough time. And I'm sure Eric, even Tyler will tell you that. A year, that's not enough time. Not for a guy like Stipe. Not even close. Not even close.
I think that everybody, all these big heavyweights would eat him up in the octagon. If you have even if you have an amateur grappling pedigree, but you're say you're a purple belt, you're gonna fuck Joshua up unless he hits you. Like once the fight goes to the ground, he's out of his world. That's it. There's no Joshua
might beat? You know who Joshua might beat at heavyweight? Mark Hunt. That's who he might beat at heavyweight.
Oh, my Lord.
That would be a good money fight, though, because just have them stand up.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, there's money to be made there. Don't get me wrong, 100%. But
And then Mark Hunt would probably lose, and then say that Anthony Joshua was on steroids.
Well,
Stop
Hunt
bashing
says
Mark
everybody's
Hunt,
on
bro.
steroids, so.
Well, I mean, everybody is on steroids. But
Yeah, most likely.
if you
Whatever.
even knew, my Nate Diaz meme, I just recycle it over and over again.
It's
Everyone's
money
on
every
steroids.
time. Every time
It's
somebody
money
pops.
every time, though.
Yeah.
It's the gift
Were
that
the
keeps on
Kansas
giving.
City? But wait, here's what I want to know: were the Kansas City Chiefs on steroids on Thursday
I
night?
was
That's
going to
what I
go
wanna
there
know.
right away, but I'm glad I waited.
Oh,
I didn't
my
have to be
Lord.
that guy again.
That's fine.
I don't know. The Pats' defense was sleeping. I can say that much.
I'll say that once they lost Hightower for the game, they couldn't stop the run at all.
Yeah, they weren't doing too much anything. But what do you guys think
neither was
the
Brady.
UFC?
But
Yeah, that's true.
let me say this in defense of the Patriot fan on the line, which I can't even believe that those words came out of my mouth. But the last 3 times the Patriots lost their opener, they won the Super Bowl under Brady. So
I've seen that. I've seen that meme today too.
They need a defense though. That defense needs some help, and they need help soon.
Yeah.
Well, don't get a defense until after you play the Raiders. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh,
Don't
boy.
get a
The real
defense
season
until
starts,
after
man. You know what will help that defense a lot? Negative fucking 20 degrees in Foxborough. All of a sudden, the defense seems to play real well.
But back to the UFC. What can they do to bring up their ratings? Because I mean, their ratings are tanking. I mean,
We've been trying to figure that out for.
Connor
49
Diaz.
years,
Connor
Eric.
Diaz 3 is what they're gonna do.
Get Tyler
one
King
night.
back in there with that beard. That's your first fucking step. Is what I'm thinking about.
You need a good card every single month, though. I mean, do you try to find a heavyweight that runs his mouth like Connor to get some interest?
It just doesn't look like they're focused on heavyweights anymore, or light heavyweights for that matter. I don't know what they're focused on anymore. You know, like I was saying, we've been trying to figure this out for, what is this, Omar? The 48th podcast?
The writing is on the wall. I told you guys last week I have it figured out. They don't care about the rankings. They need to scrap that shit. What they care about is big fight. They almost need to just scrap belt system altogether because, you know, there is no reason for it. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to what's going on. GSP is getting a title shot at middleweight against fucking, you know, a guy who probably, as much as I like him, probably didn't deserve the title shot he got. It only happened because of injury. You know, it's Dan Henderson got a title shot. You know what
tells me where the state of the UFC is in, like, and I've been giving this some thought. So Eric, this is perfect. Is WME is a sports agency or just an agency, right? A representation for talent, and we have yet to see really the mashup between the two companies bear any fruit aside from, you know, the stuff that Connor makes himself with the John Lovitz and the, you know, being a jockey and all that crazy stuff. But, you know, I don't think that the synergy that could be there business wise has been capitalized on. For me, and I would ask this back to you guys, do you guys think that that's the writing on the wall where WME is not trying to leverage, you know, one asset to boost this other purchase that they made?
I mean, me personally, I think that WME is handcuffed in a lot of deals that were made prior to them owning the company. And I think that they're going to sign a cable TV deal and go completely like able to curse, you know, and that could be more marketable because I think that the UFC is having trouble with Fox because, like, you know, these guys get their interviews cut. You're taking away moments, man, that sell. You know, Nate Diaz getting the mic pulled because he's on Fox. That's a fucking clip that they're not going to get to use, you know, that they would if it was on pay-per-view or Showtime. So I think what's going to end up happening is they might do less pay-per-views, but they're going to go for cable TV. And in turn will make them more money and give them more freedom as far as negotiations go because they're not going to have to be PC with a lot of the shit that they do.
Now,
and maybe have like a smaller deal with their shows, but
do you think some of the UFC problem, especially with the heavyweights, that most of the average heavyweights are over 35 years old in the top 10 rankings?
I think that the problem with the UFC heavyweights is the fact that they're all in the NFL and the NBA. That's my take. But there's a lot and that's a direct result of the fact.
Stale.
Yeah,
it's stale.
I mean, like because there's a bunch of it takes forever to prime as a heavyweight. Like these guys hit their prime at like 34. You very rarely see like an up and coming heavyweight young. It's rare. And what happens? They get derailed.
I'm gonna try to change that. I just got my son, he's 10, into jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai.
There you go.
Perfect.
So, and he's 10. He's already 5 feet. So I'm hoping he's gonna end up like 6'4", 6'7", and beat the brakes off of everybody.
Yeah, there it is. I love it. That's the sport. That's shows the growth of the sport. Truthfully,
send him to Delagrati's place. I know he's in Boston.
Well, I live like 20 miles north of Boston, and after sitting in traffic to get out of Boston every day after work, I kind of want to kill people.
Yo, for real. I used to live out there. I completely and utterly understand it. It's a nightmare.
And look, at 10 years old, you could get really good training for a 10-year-old at any gym. It's like if it gets serious and he's 18, then you could go. But I think a lot of people kind of do that too much. They're like, oh, what gym do you go to? It doesn't matter. You're going. If it really gets serious, you can go wherever.
If the effort's there, that's all I say.
Yeah. Max Holloway became a champion. He never changed gyms still to this day. And there's I think he might even be like one of 2 pros there in the big show.
I mean, we got some halfway decent gyms here in the Northeast.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I just know Delagrati's in Boston. he's next to Tyler, he's the only Boston professional that I actually like. Because other than that, it's fuck Boston all day long.
Oh, boy. Oh, yikes.
What about City Dong? Isn't that like close to Boston?
Is it?
Yeah, I think they're out of Everett or something like that.
It might be. It might be because I know.
I like Joe Lozon too.
Yeah, and what's his name? Kenny Florian.
The Irish hand grenade.
He doesn't.
No love for.
No, I can't fuck with him. I think he got banned.
No.
I think I banned him. Omar.
That's true. We can't bring all, man. I gotta come up with a list. It's just getting too complex.
But yeah, Eric, to go back to your point with the heavyweights, I mean, just look at it this way: Cain Velasquez is still ranked, and he hasn't had a fight since forever.
Roy Nelson's still ranked in the top 10, and he's in Bellator.
That's what I was about to say. I think Roy Nelson is still ranked.
Roy Nelson's still ranked, and he's got like a fight and a loss in Bellator.
Roy Nelson, I think he's lost his last 4 fights. Yes,
but he's huge in Brazil for some reason.
That's good for night.
He's huge in Brazil. I don't get it.
Well, he's
huge
huge everywhere.
They feed him hot dogs down there.
Roy Nelson's just huge.
He's huge everywhere, bro. Yeah, let's be honest. Come on.
He's huge in the belly.
Yo.
Who are you kidding?
Get out of here.
No, Roy Nelson's banned, by the way.
I don't think I've ever seen any jiu-jitsu from him at all.
Well, the one time he tried it, he got stood up, all right? So that would fix things. Didn't he have Arlovsky dead to rights?
I think Cormier doggy-styled him for like 25 minutes straight.
Oh, no.
He just took his back and kept pounding him. It was so fucking funny.
Ranked over Fedor. Fedor is ranked number 27 in the world. They got Roy Nelson ranked number 16 heavyweight in the world.
They should go get Sakuraba in there. He's probably a heavyweight.
Yo, shut your mouth, Chris. Shut it right now.
I think Sakuraba kicks the shit out of Roy Nelson. That's what I think.
I'm with it.
Saki bombs.
With the luchador mask, he just goes nuts.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe they got that kickboxer that's getting ready to go in the UFC.
Gokhan Saki.
Yeah, Gokhan Saki.
Yo.
I mean, he's amazing as a kickboxer, but when it comes to the cage, it's a different world.
Bring back
Look,
Tyrone
Spong. If Tyrone Spong couldn't fucking get it done in MMA, I don't know anybody that will, because that dude was
Rico Verhoeven could do it if you gave him enough time. I'd be excited to see him come in. Like, we need more new blood. I think Eric's point is absolutely correct. Like, we got to lower the median age, for fuck's sake, to not have it be AARP membership.
Like a lot of these these Dutch strikers need to learn how to, like someone open a wrestling school in fucking Holland, like,
or just everybody work with Boss Rutan.
Honestly,
everybody work with him.
Yeah, you can get his put his little fighting thing in the middle of the cage and go to town.
I'll tell you what, man. When you think of it in that aspect of it, other than the fact that Overeem's been sauced up forever, you got to give that dude credit. He's one of the only guys that's actually been able to cross over and have success.
I watched one of his training videos, or I don't know what the fuck it was, but they were in a bar. And he's like, if someone approaches you, kick him in the fucking balls and then dash his head. He goes, oh, look at this poster.
Bong,
this
bong,
looks great.
bong. Yeah, I know the exact video you're talking about.
That's his self-defense video. That's his self-defense video for bouncers.
Don't
that he
you
put out years
do
ago.
that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Tried to kill me. And
so
now
you're
I'm
going to be
going
going out to the bar worrying about getting kicked in the balls.
Smack his face.
Yeah, that was, man, God, I can't remember what year that was made, but I had that whole video on LimeWire.
Oh my God, bro! Like that shit was
just for me to sit and get stoned and laugh to back in the day. That's
LimeWire.
LimeWire, bro. Yeah, how about even before that, bro? Like Kazaa.
Oh boy.
BearShare, Napster.
Bro, that's how I watched Pride. I would fucking wait until the next day, and someone from wherever, I guess Japan, I would download it off their shit. I had all those Pride videos. I wish I could find that hard drive somewhere.
Pride's the stuff I used to watch live.
I would just watch it. I would watch. I mean, I wasn't. Where were you, in Japan?
No, it was on pay-per-view.
I know, but like,
I used to stay over Eric DeCuna's house, and we'd sit up till fucking 3:00 in the morning waiting for the pay-per-view to start.
He said live like he's in the Saitama Super Arena, sitting there like,
I wish I could have gone there. I'd probably be the loudest person there because they just sit and not say a thing, and I'd be a drunken mess screaming throughout the entire fight.
Drunk off Sapporos. I like it.
Sake bombs.
Strong move.
Or Saku
You and
bombs.
the Sake bombs.
I'm telling you, the Saku bombs. God bless.
Soccer
what do you
fantasy
think?
Football over here.
What do you think, Eric? Though, what's the answer for the heavyweight division? How do we resurrect this once proud division?
Well, I think you got to do what I'm doing and just get your kids into it, getting them in young.
I like it.
First, I have to find a woman who's gonna spawn a heavyweight child for me.
Oh no!
And if that's the case, I'm probably gonna make him play football, and that goes to my point.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah,
you can't win.
See, that
can't win with this.
My kids don't like team sports. Worked out perfect for me.
There you
don't
go.
know why. Doesn't like team sports. Put him in jiu-jitsu. He likes it. And for some reason, my kid likes on his back, too. So maybe that works out for him as long as he doesn't get his face smashed in.
I mean, if I knew then what I know now, I would have rather, my dad put me into wrestling and jiu-jitsu to learn more of the individual achievement.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than depending on a team, I think it builds better character for a kid to learn individual achievement, 100%.
Well, I got to teach my kid.
He's in this James Harrison school of thought of no participation trophies required for my child. James Harrison.
100%.
Like, you should be disappointed in yourself, son. Like that.
Championship match, forgot my cup.
Oh.
Got need balls.
Ooh.
Good God.
That'll do it. That'll fucking do it.
State championship match. Couldn't find my cup. Needing the ball. Done.
Oof.
Yeah, I never had that problem. I never had that problem in wrestling.
Tommy doesn't have balls, in case you were wondering.
No, he can retract them. He's like a rat.
We were talking earlier about the turtle position. That has multi meanings here.
Oh no,
Pride Rules
no, the shy turtle. Oh fuck you.
Yeah, Chris.
He's got turtle.
Chris, you know for sure I have balls because they've been on your chin plenty.
Oh.
No, you know what? The only thing I'll say is like me and Tommy were on the same wrestling team. So when he
oh, so he's not even joking.
Actually, I'm not. We actually were. So we've actually. I could say I'm very confident in my sexuality. Me and Tommy have showered in the same room at the same time,
staring into each other's eyes,
gazing into each other's eyes.
Exactly.
As Tommy was picking at my balls.
For your listeners.
Yo, it's 2-minute warning after dark. Anything after 10:30, it's all bets are off, bro.
It's over.
All right. Here's one for you. All right. With the Tyler fight, we all got to know Michal. What do you think of his Iranian fighters? Do you think they have a shot over here in the UFC?
You know what, dude? Anybody coming out of AKA Thailand, with Mike
with
Slick,
with a wrestling background.
Yeah, they got a good shot with as porous as the heavyweight division is in the UFC. They definitely have a chance.
Yeah, but I can't imagine how they would market them in a positive way. Like I said it, on the show that night. It was tough, man, because like I know how they would market any fight with a U.S. heavyweight. It would be like, good versus evil over here, and that's not right.
Yeah,
it's not right, but
they would do the Iron Sheik Hulk Hogan fucking shtick.
Yeah. Yeah, like Dana White would fly in the Iron Sheik and have him front and center just because. Like I understand what you mean.
Iron Sheik would be like, "Fuck USA, fuck everything." Like, Iron Sheik is the best follow on fucking social media.
Fuck your mother,
period.
right? He just be like,
"Fuck your mother." Happy. He'll be like, "Good morning, fuck Wednesday." Fuck, like he don't even care, yo.
But yeah, Eric, I think they would do well. I don't know about maybe the UFC right away, but if you were to put them in Bellator or even World Series of Fighting or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves now, just for them to cut their teeth a little bit, like Chris was saying with their grappling and with their striking at AKA, I think they could do pretty well. As far as a guy like Amir goes, I don't know how well he would do over here. I don't know. With his wrestling, I think he would do pretty well. It's just I don't know.
I firmly believe that they should have the best fighters in the world fighting each other. The best willing guys in the world. If a guy's willing and able, it shouldn't matter where the fuck he's from. Period.
I even say take it a step further. Make it unwilling. Like prisoners of war. Fucking, just like captured people, kidnapped
like gladiator
them,
times.
Make them fight.
Like fight for your freedom.
Exactly.
Or we're gonna go sack your village and take everything.
Exactly. Dagestani rules.
If this was a different time, I'd ride into your favela on horseback and take your entire.
How did I know? Oh Christ! How did I know?
think they should do some like team-orientated fighter, like have AKA go against like American Top Team. And have them battle it out for the top gym in the world.
They tried that with the Ultimate Fighter that season.
Yeah, no, that's why Pride was amazing, because they would do USA versus Brazil, USA versus Japan. Pride those were some of the best Prides. Omar, I know you used to watch those. Those were some of the best Prides.
I was in Japan at the time, and I would watch.
It doesn't surprise me with you.
Bro, they can even do shit, and like honestly, that might be something that the UFC should start doing. Just like, even if it's like city against city, go into locally. They have all these local guys on all the local cards anyway. Like the undercard is filled with local guys that probably wouldn't. We even had a guest on. This Brad Desir fought at the Garden because he was local, and then they didn't fight him. He gets the first round knockout, and they don't give him a fucking shot. So just have. gym wars, basically, and
well,
on cards.
You have a team. So say like, all right, AKA Thailand, you got 2 or 3 heavyweights. You got a couple fighters in each division, and then each gym. So you can say each division, then women's teams. Have like a fucking Stanley Cup of the fighting.
Well, Iran doesn't have a women's team.
Yeah, they wouldn't be allowed, I believe. I'm just saying. Just all things being equal.
Yeah. Full disclosure, Iran won't let women fight, I don't think.
Why?
Yeah,
all AKA fighters out of Iran?
But
a good portion of them.
Yeah.
A good portion of them are.
Yeah, like flat out. I like the gym concept, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, because he never responded back to me.
Well, when we had Masood on and Cyrus, his interpreter, Cyrus was telling us that there's no gyms in Iran, so they have to go to places like Thailand. So, if they started opening up MMA gyms in Iran, I think you would probably see a big flood of Iranian fighters coming into the States,
and I think
because of their grappling background.
You're going to start to see better European fighters into bigger weight classes anyway. Like the Australians are starting to get fucking good. Not that they're European, but you get what I'm saying.
Distant cousins, I guess, of the Europeans.
Because like the major sport over there is like everywhere is soccer. I guess rugby, but in certain places. But
car race.
The big guys can't play soccer. If you're a big, huge guy from somewhere, like fighting is up and coming. And like he said, like his son is 10, and he's got him training. That's going to be going on across the world now. So in time, he might be right. The only thing is going to be like youth to fix the heavyweight division. Iran has maybe 2 or 3 heavyweights that would be legit. The whole team concept is a good idea, but fixing the heavyweight division is going to take a long time. It's going to take like 10 years.
And the UFC doesn't even seem like they're even attempting to do it.
Does the UFC have time to fix it, though? Because their ratings, the only thing that seems to be grabbing ratings is the Conor fight. Look at the card last week. It fell apart. And that seems to be a common thing in the UFC is you get excited for a good card, and then last minute, oh, this guy's sick, he didn't make weight. Maybe they should start having penalties if you have to drop a fight last minute.
Yeah, I mean, they should for sure. But I think what they're doing now is more or less of like, they're not losing money on even the bad cards. So it's like, let's just flood it, we could make more money off a flop than we can a hit if we have 4 flops kind of deal. It's almost like the producers, the fucking play. Not to get the all Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm on you, but you can make more off a flop than you can with a hit because you don't have to put anything into it. So they're not really pumping these cards, they're not promoting them, and they're getting the TV money, they're getting the advertising money, they're getting the gate, whatever it might be, they're getting the small amount of pay-per-views, they're getting the ratings, the viewership, and they have one every 3 weeks rather than have, so the UFC, I don't know that they really care about the problems that we care about. Everybody thinks that they're worried about ratings. Like, this could be by design until they're allowed to steer the ship in the direction they want it to go, because like I said before, there's a lot of big deals that have been done. The Fox deal, they bought the company with all the Reebok deal, they might have a different plan and they're just not talking about it yet.
So you got who the fuck wants to?
Yeah, but you got to give the new ownership a chance to kind of forge their own way before I start passing judgment on how they don't care or this might be by design, which I think it is. They're not stupid. These guys are billionaires for a reason.
500 owners of the UFC now?
Yeah, but it's still no. There is a lot of people that have shares, but there's the main company that owns it.
With the WME?
Yeah, there's like whoever the CEOs and the higher ups there are, they own the UFC. Like there's people, they're just not front and center like they used to be with the Fertittas. I guarantee you the Fertittas, when they owned it, there was just as many people that had a stake in the UFC then. It just wasn't celebrities.
Yeah, it all remains to be seen. Like Omar and I have said to nauseum, that $4.2 billion that they bought the company for, they're not even coming close to making any of that money back right now. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah. What's there to wonder?
But
you just see.
But what do you mean though?
Ratings.
Like a return? There's a return on it. The ratings, like I said though, Tommy. Like you have 4 shitty fucking things that aren't doing great. You're still making money off each one of them. Maybe not as much as you could off of a great card, but then you have one great card every 3 months or 4 months. You know what I mean? Like that's their business model. It's like
but you got to look. Yeah, but you got to look into what they're putting out for each one of these events. These Fox
they got to pay
events,
the mortgage, guys. They got to pay the mortgage.
Yeah, they're paying production and they're paying the fighters, and once all those payments get taken out,
so
whatever's left over goes.
What do you think is happening? Do you think that they're losing money? Because they're not.
No,
I think so.
No, I don't think they're losing money.
They're making their money. That's not. They're too good at business to be losing money.
And they're not paying people.
Bro,
still.
when you put on,
you
put on a pay-per-view, but when you put on a pay-per-view event that probably didn't even get 100,000 pay-per-view buys, they're losing money.
What,
even when you kind of cynic could be like the guy that admits they did it on purpose.
But hold on a second. Like you're telling me that the gate, even on a shitty subpar card, plus 100,000 pay-per-view buys at what? Let's say 60 a pop, and sponsorships that they probably have on a per event basis. Not for the fighters, mind you, right? Because it's fuck the fighters at the UFC. You don't think they're
the UFC is making more from Reebok than the fighters are?
1,000%. It was disclosed when they signed the contract for that. They said, listen, the money's going to the UFC, and then the UFC came up with this cockamamie idea on how to hierarchically distribute it, and it's just like, whoa, wait a second. you're putting peanuts to the fighters. They're not going to have these events unless they're somewhat covering their nut, or we'd see a complete and utter turnaround, I think.
Yeah, you would see a different business model.
I don't know, man. I don't think that they're making the money that they thought that they were going to make.
That I agree with.
So in my eyes, that's still but in my eyes, that's still losing. In my eyes,
let me ask you this, guys. Do you think it's a better product now on FS1 and Fox, or do you think it was a better product when it was on FX and Spike?
Before.
FX
better
and
product
Spike.
Before. Yeah, with hands down.
Even the Ultimate Fighter, for some reason, and I said this before, I thought the Ultimate Fighter was so much better on Spike. I can't put my finger on why, but when it went over to FS1, it all just felt different. It wasn't as interesting.
Fox sucks, bro.
It's watered down. It's a shitty product. That's what it feels like. I mean, since they went over to FS1, I haven't watched it. When it was on Spike and FX, I watched the Ultimate Fighter every single season.
Yeah, and with like this season's Ultimate Fighter that's going on right now, didn't even know that they were having one. Don't even give a fuck to watch. That's the part that it's at right now. Whereas before, when it was on Spike, I never missed it. I never missed it.
You know what it seems like? It seems like they had a good pace that they were going at. Dana got a couple good, exciting fighters, and then signed a bunch of deals, and then the product went to shit.
Well, it seems like the product went to shit. It seems like the product went to shit as soon as WME bought the company. That's what it seemed like. It just went to complete shit.
They put window dressing on there.
I know you agree with that.
I mean, they put window dressing in order to sell it. There was always these rumors that they inflated the earnings. And in any business deal that you do, you look at, hey, listen, how many times earnings, this year's earnings am I going to pay for this asset? So I don't think that they've necessarily made the money that they were wanting to make. I completely agree with everybody there. But I also agree with Chris in terms of, the second they can rework the landscape business-wise, they will. They're handcuffed. I think Chris said it, and that was the perfect analogy.
Yeah. It got me thinking when we were talking about it last week, and I was like, I kind of didn't give you any love. And I was like, if only we had a guy that, knew about this stuff. And it got me to think, there's definitely more to it. These guys ain't stupid. They're not losing money. They're not out here losing money. There's no way.
All right, so say example. So say if I'm a shareholder, I want some return on my money. I didn't put this money up to sit back and say, all right, well, let's see where this goes. I want instantaneous, return on my money.
Yeah, well, a shareholder is also, like you can't go buy a stock at a stock market and be like, if a stock fucks up, you know what I mean? Like that's a decision you made.
I mean, as the shareholders, though, they put their faith in the people running the company. That's always how the structure is set up. You buy shares, and especially with what I assume the share structure is for WME, and by saying that I mean, you can buy shares, but you don't have any voting power. I think you'd be pretty stupid to have crazy creative quote unquote
people voting on it's like I have a share in the Packers, but I can't like go sign a free agent.
And you can't
for
you
the
can't
team
say, hey, I want this advertising campaign or let's sign Kaepernick. Oh no, I said it. But
you know what? Fire McCarthy and hire me.
Yeah, exactly. You get enough shares, you get enough proxy votes, you might be able to do it. But I think that they put their faith in WME. WME, kind of, it is a private company, so we can't really peel back the kimono, so to speak. And so as a shareholder, you say, hey, listen, I'd like immediate return on my investment, but this is one of those things. Like, say, the way I compare it is like, say when a GE went out and bought, started on that acquisition streak back in the 80s and 90s, right? Everybody was like, wait a second, what the hell are they buying all these crazy companies for? And then, GE said, hey, listen. We're buying these. We have a managerial expertise that we're going to export to these companies, and then we're going to coach them up, and we're going to turn them into something. I think
it's like Alex Baldwin on 30 Rock right there.
100%. Yeah, and that's what it was based on. He was based on Jack Welch. 100%. That's exactly what it was based on. Westinghouse was based off the GE acquisition.
Yeah, no, you're right.
They bought everything.
Full circle here.
Right? They bought, the GE can go out and buy whatever, and you're just like, wait a second. So they're in that grace period, I think, Eric, in terms of, they're still, a year out, year and a half out, maybe within 2 years. If they
2018.
don't, yeah, so if they don't start kind of, turning it around, I want to say, Q4 or Q1 next year.
You say turning it around. I'm almost willing to argue the fact that because it's a private company, that if you actually seen the numbers, you'd be like, wow, they're making so much money. They need to pay these guys more. Like, they're not disclosing shit because, it's highway robbery what they're actually making.
Well, they're able to tell labor to go eat a dick. You're absolutely right with that because labor has no collective power in this setup. So you're right there. They can keep costs down immensely. And what's one of the biggest costs? You would think when it comes to, this type of
talent.
Yes, exactly. They're a talent agency that doesn't have to pay the talent.
They don't have to pay to go to a venue and like they get paid to go to places. They get, it's like, here, we're going to give you a cut of what we sell if you come here, like, and have your show.
You just got to pay Ice Cube to leave, right? You just got to pay Ice Cube, a little bit to give up some venues if he wants to squat on venues to push some bullshit 3-on-3 leagues. But
all right, so Steven Espinoza of Showtime said he'd definitely be interested, but he's not sure he could outbid Fox. So do you see UFC staying with Fox? Do you see maybe HBO or Showtime? Who do you think would make the best sense money-wise
Showtime.
for UFC to go to?
Showtime.
Now, do they do the same? No, so if Showtime gets the rights, do they do what they did with like the Conor and Mayweather? Showing the fighters getting ready for the cards and back,
Get on CBS. Fuck everything else. Get it on CBS again, or now. Get the UFC on CBS. That's the ultimate money play with Showtime. If I'm the UFC, that's all I give a shit about. Not
or
Fox.
They could do just like they do like a fucking 24/7 deal.
100%. That's huge too.
Well, Showtime did such a good. Well, Showtime did such a good job with, even Elite XC and when Strikeforce, Showtime did such a good job with them because you knew who Ronda Rousey was when she was fighting for Strikeforce. Now, that's not to say that everybody had Showtime, but you knew who she was.
You could say it, Tommy. You could say it. Nick Diaz, bro. He fucking carried that fucking shit for a while.
He actually held the championship belt in that division. The only belt he's ever held in his life other than a black one.
So now that's something to be fucking come on, bro. You shaking your stick
No,
at Nick Diaz's black belt?
Not at all, but I'm just saying he was actually a champion there.
His shy turtle.
At
that black belt. Shaking that shy turtle.
So yeah, Eric, I think it would definitely be Showtime. I don't think HBO would know what to do with MMA.
Oh my goodness,
already done
I got
so much
class
with it.
soon. I didn't even remember.
You got no class, Thornton Mellon, motherfucker.
No, I have. That's Tyrone. Shout out to Tyrone. No class. I actually do have class.
Oh shit.
Well,
listen, guys.
Do something with the UFC.
What's up?
ESPN do something with the UFC.
ESPN's gonna die.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even put money on why.
Yeah, that's a sinking ship.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Wasn't the IFL? Wasn't IFL on ESPN?
Yeah, how'd that work out?
The only thing that's good that ESPN has going for them right now is what I'm watching on TV. I'm watching it right now on TV, and it's Monday Night Football. And other than that, it's Charles Woodson on Sunday Countdown. That's it. Other than that, they got nothing for me.
Got zero.
Yeah, not when it comes to MMA. It failed once before. They just
they were talking about
fucking.
They actually had a segment on like what NFL players wore to the stadium, like what they wore, like dress.
Inquiring minds want to know. ESPN,
like fashion, like fashion,
right?
Sports high fashion. I'm good.
Yeah.
Hey,
listen, guys.
Something I was actually thinking about, real quick. One last thing, and something maybe you guys can bring up next segment. All right, so CTE in the football. Do you think that CTE and MMA? Do you think the fighters are ever going to go, for whatever brain damage that they have later on in life, and go after the UFC and the Bellators?
They can't.
I think that the UFC is way too smart for that shit. They're signing waivers now. Like, you're fighting, sign this.
Yeah, but you see, these guys are independent contractors, so they know the risks, and there's no union, so they're beat.
The NFL
and the
NFL
UFC
answers to the NFLPA when it comes to CTE, and there's no equivalent body. If that happens, though, guys, I could see that being a situation. Right?
Which
like
is why they get them to sign contracts, and they actually can say, like, well, this is your dreams dangling in front of you. You want this fight? Sign this paper.
Like Ralph Macchio at the Crossroads.
And this is
the
anything.
NFL contract for CTE, and you have the basically when you're a retired football player, depending on how many years you get a pension. There's no pension in sports fighting. I mean, what's the most of these guys only made like $1.8 million in a 15-year career getting their heads kicked in.
Bro, if you make 1.5 mil, then you're lucky. Like these dudes ain't making fucking. A lot of these guys, the average guy ain't making even a mil, or even close to it. And a 15-year career is special. Like that's fucking impossible in the combat sports world.
It's impressive. Exactly, it really is.
Well, this might sound a little callous to say, but you know what? It's the truth. You're signing on to play a sport where you get punched, kicked, and elbowed in the head.
That's the thing of it. I'm going to correct you because you don't play that sport. You're not playing shit. You're fighting. You're fighting with a couple
Nick.
rules.
Okay, Nick.
No, it's the truth. You're not playing. There's no. You could ask a fighter that shit.
It's considered a sport.
I don't play fighting.
You're signing on to get punched and kicked and elbowed in the head. You're getting your limbs twisted in ways that they're not supposed to be twisted. So if there's lasting effects as you get older, you should know that. So I don't think that there should be any kind of a lawsuit. And honestly, even with football, nobody's twisting your arm to play. They're paying you millions of dollars to play.
But with football,
Nobody's
it was
hiding.
It was trying to hide these results.
Yeah,
so that's,
with football,
I think,
it was like not telling you that you have a concussion and that you shouldn't play. Like it's like doctors with knowledge of these things were like saying, okay, he's good, he could go back in. That's what's fucked up.
Yeah, well, Chris, I seem to remember we had no concussion protocol when we were playing.
Yeah.
I know I played.
That explains
many
a lot
games
about this show. Yeah,
I played many games.
I went home after every practice and threw up. Like,
so I can remember
banging
throwing
my
up
head.
during the middle of practice. You good? Yep. All right, get back in there.
Yeah, that was
like
the question, right? You good? Who's gonna
from
say
a head
no?
injury.
Yeah.
You're just dehydrated.
I'm not nauseous because I'm nauseous. I'm nauseous because I see stars and I just got fucking my bell rung. By being told to like make him quit, like by the coaches, like we don't want him on the team, make him quit. It's like, okay.
The only
Really
time
nice.
I've ever had my bell rung in my life is playing football. Been punched in the head, never had my bell rung. Football, had my bell rung.
Bro,
real good.
and the helmets are the danger, I'm telling you, man, because you feel like you're invincible with a helmet on, and then you whack yourself into something full speed and you realize that you're not.
Well, I used to headbutt lockers without the fucking helmet. That explains a lot.
Because of said head injuries you sustained while wearing it.
Good call. Full circle.
That's a very good point. Well, listen, guys, it's we're right at that time. I'm sure we went over, but fuck, tonight was fun. Eric, thanks again for
I'm off
calling
the
in,
fucking
bro.
deep
Start
end right now.
calling in earlier, man. You know what? We'll get these conversations going earlier.
Do his thing, so.
Well, listen, next week, I don't think we have anything lined up yet. But, regardless, just call in earlier, even when we have a guest. Throw some questions out there, man. But
all right, keep on doing my researching, and let you know how the 10-year-old's training's going.
There you go.
Let us know. Let us know. So, guys, this was a great show. It was great to have Bobby on. Hopefully he shares his charity stuff with us so we can start blasting that out on all our social media outlets. Chris has been lagging a little on the Instagram, so we're going to need to get that up and running.
Yeah.
Our other hosts
nothing like a call out. Yeah, like Chris is lagging. I didn't know I inherited all my brother's fucking dog shit.
That's messed up. It's a Cain and Abel situation, guys. All right, come on.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, guys, tonight was a lot of fun. I loved having Bobby on, and hopefully I could try and set something up for next week. If not, I'm sure we'll have some topics to talk about. So, as always, I'd like to give a shout-out to our sponsors, 80K Fightwear, Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, Madama Jiu-Jitsu, and, of course, 2 Minute Warning Sports. Guys, I can't wait to talk to you next week. Well, actually, we got our video cast this week, so you guys get to hear us again. And this time you get to see our lovely faces on YouTube, where we'll be talking some more shit.
Beautiful.
Talk some more shit, and then, yeah, I love it. Well, guys, listen, great show. Watch the rest of Monday Night Football tonight. So for Chris, Omar, I'm Tommy D. We are Pride Rules MMA. Have a good night, everybody.
We're going to call him Turtle Dick Tommy.